Ever wondered how hackers infiltrate secure systems and access confidential data? It's not magic, it's a process. Welcome to the mysterious world of hacking, a realm that might seem dark and complex, but is fundamentally rooted in understanding and exploiting weaknesses. In our digitally interconnected world, hacking is more relevant than ever. In this video, we'll delve into the different phases of hacking, demystifying the strategies used by these cyber maestros. Stick around to uncover the step-by-step process hackers employ to breach defenses. The journey begins with the first phase, reconnaissance, the art of gathering information. This is the stage where hackers turn into detectives, hunting for all the necessary data about their target. Imagine it as a chess game, where understanding the opponent's strategy and anticipating their moves can spell the difference between victory and defeat. In this phase, hackers employ two types of reconnaissance, active and passive. In active reconnaissance, hackers engage with the target system directly, probing for weaknesses and potential entry points. On the other hand, passive reconnaissance involves hackers discreetly collecting information without directly interacting with the system, like a stealthy shadow in the night. They identify vulnerabilities in the system, understand its defenses, and spot opportunities for breaching. It's a careful and methodical process, with every piece of information serving as a possible key to unlock the target's defenses. Armed with this information, the hacker is ready to scan the target. Next, hackers scan the target using the data collected during reconnaissance. This phase is akin to a burglar checking for unlocked doors and windows in a house. The hackers use scanning tools to probe the target system, aiming to understand it better. These tools help them identify open ports, which are essentially doors into the system. But they don't stop at finding the doors. They also want to know what's behind each door, so they try to identify the services running on these open ports. This information can reveal vulnerabilities in the system. For instance, an outdated service that hasn't been updated with the latest security patches can provide an easy entrance for hackers. Think of this phase as the hacker's blueprint. It's how they map out their attack, identifying the easiest and most vulnerable points of entry. Now, with a clear picture of the target system, it's time for the actual attack. Phase 3 is where things get serious, gaining access. This is the stage where the hacker leverages vulnerabilities discovered during the scanning phase to infiltrate the system. It's like finding the weakest link in the armor, then exploiting it to breach the defenses. One of the most common techniques for gaining access is password cracking. This method utilizes a variety of strategies, from simple guesswork based on personal information to more complex approaches like brute force attacks, where a computer program tries every possible password combination until it finds the right one. Another popular technique is the distributed denial of service attack, or DDoS. Here, the hacker overwhelms the target system with an avalanche of requests, causing it to crash or become unresponsive. This creates an opportunity for the hacker to slip in undetected, much like a burglar setting off a fire alarm to create a diversion. But these are just a couple of examples. There are countless other ways hackers can gain access to a system, from phishing scams to exploiting software vulnerabilities, to physical attacks like hardware tampering. The toolbox of a hacker is vast and ever-evolving. Once inside, the hacker's job isn't over. They must ensure they can return whenever they please. This is like a burglar not only breaking into your house but also making a copy of your keys for future visits. Once inside, the hacker must make sure to keep the door open for future visits. Having infiltrated the system, hackers must ensure they maintain access. This is a critical component of their strategy, as it allows them to return to the compromised system at their leisure, often without the victim's knowledge. So, how do they achieve this? The answer lies in the installation of backdoors. Backdoors are essentially secret pathways that hackers carve out in the system, their own private entrance that bypasses standard authentication procedures. Now, you might be wondering, how do they install these backdoors without being detected? This is where the use of rootkits and trojans come into play. Rootkits are stealthy and notoriously difficult to detect. They can mask the existence of processes, files, and system data, effectively making the backdoor invisible. Trojans, on the other hand, masquerade as legitimate software, duping the user into installing them, thereby creating the backdoor. But what good is a successful hack if no one knows about it? The final phase is arguably the most important, covering tracks. This is where hackers put on their digital invisibility cloaks, erasing any evidence of their intrusion to avoid detection. This isn't some haphazard cleanup either. It's a meticulous process, requiring just as much skill and cunning as the initial hack itself. Imagine a burglar not only stealing from a house but wiping away footprints, dusting off fingerprints, and even replacing the broken window. That's what hackers do in the digital world. They alter log files, those digital breadcrumbs that could lead straight back to them. They hide files, burying them deep within the system where they're unlikely to be found. This phase is about deception and stealth. It's about leaving a crime scene so clean that even Sherlock Holmes would be left scratching his head. And just like that, a successful hack is complete, leaving no trace behind. So, hacking isn't as simple as it appears in movies, is it? In reality, it's a methodical process that requires knowledge, patience, and precision. Let's do a quick recap. The journey begins with reconnaissance, where hackers gather as much information as possible about their target. It's the groundwork, the foundation on which all other steps are built. Next comes scanning. Here, hackers probe for weaknesses, looking for any chinks in the armor they can exploit. Once vulnerabilities are identified, we move on to gaining access. This is where the actual breach occurs, the point of entry into the system. After gaining access, maintaining that access is the next step. This involves setting up backdoors, ensuring that even if the initial breach is discovered, the hacker still has a way in. Finally, covering tracks. This is all about misdirection and deception, erasing evidence of the breach and making it difficult for anyone to trace back the attack. Now you have a glimpse into the methodical world of hacking. Remember, knowledge is power, and understanding these phases can help protect your own systems.